from this point forward. So, and action. Hi, welcome to Show and Tell. I'm Billie, I'm your host, and unfortunately, the other people who are knitting along with me seem to have gotten mixed signals. I know about two of them were not going to be able to be here today. Isha is off buying a puppy, so next time she's gonna, I hope, be able to show us her puppy. But a couple of the other people I haven't heard from. I'm not sure why they're not here, but it's just me, and I can show you my progress, and I hope that's exciting and interesting. Before I do that, let me just say that you can also find me on Instagram and Ravelry as billietoy, and that'll be in the show notes below. The pattern I will also put a link to in the show notes. And the person who we are purchasing the pattern from has very graciously and generously proposed donating all of the proceeds from this particular pattern sale while the knit along is going on. The proceeds will be donated to Andrew of Fruity Knitting, the late Andrew, to his medical expenses, which was very nice of her. And I wanted to be sure and mention that again. Okay, so the Sirdar 1949 cardigan, of which I don't have a hard copy, I can't show you a picture easily, but you can see it. Oh, how very exciting. There you are. Goody, there's George. Oh, I'm so excited because I was flying solo. You're still muted. You want to take yourself off of mute. Ah, good. Still muted. Well, anyway, while George is figuring out how to mute herself, there she is. George, I was just apologizing for everyone. It was just me. And then I'm so happy to see you. And
yeah, I just couldn't get it
tag.
figured up. I couldn't get it figured this morning. There, that's it.
I know. You should tell the people where you're from and why this was such a challenge for you because of the time of day.
Yeah, well, the sun has just come up and I'm in Rotorua in North Island of New Zealand. So it's, what, 10 to 7 in the morning now.
But it's lovely
and I'm
to
knitting.
see you.
Yes.
I was just telling the limited audience that we have, at least so far, that Isha let me know just recently that something came up for her. She's buying a puppy. So they were going to, I'm not sure if they were picking up the puppy today or just going to have a look and determine which one they want, but
yeah,
it's possible that she'll be watching maybe in the car if she can get a smartphone. So Isha, if you're out there, hi. If she's not watching now, she will be watching it later. So good luck with that puppy. Can't wait to meet him or her. So I was going to show the couple of pieces that I have finished. I'll show mine and give you a chance to settle in, and then hopefully you'll show us the progress that you've made. So last time I had shown that I finished one sleeve. Let me see the view that I'm on. Yes, so one sleeve. And because I'm not doing the ribbing until afterwards on the body of the sweater, this is a provisional cast on, this ugly red. And my ribbing will be down here. So this is the part of the back that has the, let's get that out of there. Yeah, I'm showing you the right side. Yeah, that's the right side. So this is the part of the back that has the motif. And I'm finished. I didn't bind off. I kept live stitches and they're on waste yarn because I'm going to do a 3-needle bind off with the front shoulders when I get to that. And this is how far I have gotten so far on one of my fronts. Now, typically I would do both fronts concurrently. However, I didn't think about this in advance. I am working off of 3 cones, these 3 very fine strands. So everything is one continuous strand. My entire back, there's no like adding in a new ball. There's none of that. It's just continuously off the cone. So if I wanted to knit my 2 fronts together, I would have had to have unwound the just right amount.
You could have done like a chain ply with that. So you could knit off 1 cone, but with 3 strands at the same time.
You are right. Like the Navajo.
Navajo.
Yes. I've never done that. I've heard of it and I didn't think about it. I would have had to have for 1 front, a single strand and a Navajo. Yeah. Well, no, actually, no, because I need 3. I need 3 and
Navajo
3.
Navajo will give you 3 off 1 piece.
So I would have to just be working off of 2 cones, doing both of them Navajo.
Yeah,
I could have done that. And I don't think I would have run out of yarn because
I
don't think, I mean, I should have taken a picture of how this cone looked at the beginning, but it seems like I still have an awful lot of yarn.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not quite halfway through the sweater, but I'm a good part of the way through. And it still seems like there's a lot here, but that's okay because I have other things in mind that I can make out of this, like something sleeveless that could go underneath this cardigan. Anyway, since you're here, yay, can you show us what you've done and how far along you are?
These are my 2 fronts. So I'm going up the 2 fronts very easy because I can memorize the pattern now, which is nice. This is my back completed.
Oh, gorgeous.
And this is the first sleeve that you saw last week.
So you're...
Yeah. So I'm doing quite well.
Yeah.
You've
actually done more than I have because you've done all of that ribbing and you have both fronts part way. I only have part of one. I can't even imagine how fast you must knit because I have been monogamous. I have not been knitting on anything else during the time that I've been working on this project.
Yeah. Well, I've had 1 day with my husband not being here. He's been away. I've had a creative fibre day, which I could knit during the whole thing. So yeah, I've had a couple of days at home with friends here who've been knitting. So I've managed to keep going. But I'll be glad when these 2 fronts are done, which I hope will be finished next week. Then I'll be on to the last sleeve. But
well,
it's funny,
unfortunately, with the others not being here, I mean, Isha and I have chatted about it a little over in the Ravelry group, which for the viewers is also called Show and Tell. Actually, no, it might have been a private message that she sent me. She, I think, is of the opinion that she might need a little more time. I'm pretty sure that 2 weeks from now, I will not have the button bands and the buttons and all of my ribbing and a sleeve and a second front. I mean, I just don't see that in the cards. So you might be done.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure about that because have you read the pattern for the front? Because they do one front and then do the band. I would have done the bands right at the end. I think I will do the bands at the end.
I didn't show my band. I mean, I was following their instructions. So I put these 8 little stitches on a safety pin and that is going to be knit up at a different gauge than this. It'll be on the same size needle, but it won't have this pattern. It's just going to be
No,
ribbing.
it's on the smaller size needle is the band.
But so is this on the smaller size needle.
What,
I
front?
I didn't do on my sleeve. Let's see. On my, actually, maybe I didn't follow the instructions correctly. On my sleeve, I did my ribbing with the smaller needle. And
Yeah.
it said to do the first part of the sleeve
Yeah.
also on the smaller needle.
Yeah.
And then change to the larger needle, which
Yeah.
I did. And especially because my arm isn't slim. I need extra width there. So that was good. But then I thought, that's only because my arm is heavy that I would want the bigger needle size. I thought for the back, I did the whole thing in the smaller needle size. And
really?
I did. And I think I'm fine. This has so much stretch. To it. The yarn is, even though it's triple, the yarn is still, that's triple strand. It's still pretty thin. Let me go into speaker view, maybe. It's thin. So this just seems very lacy, very open.
Well, this
you can
is
see,
done.
like you can even see the light going right through it.
Yeah.
And I'm not blocked yet.
This hasn't been blocked yet, but can you see what I mean about how crinkly it is to start with? And this is done on the larger needle all the way through, apart from the rib. So you can see it there. It's really crinkly.
Yes, crinkly. So to me, crinkling seems to be like a little denser. My fabric doesn't seem dense. My fabric seems very airy.
Yeah, well, mine, once it's blocked, that happens to mine.
I still think just by looking at yours that it's woolier looking. This to me is going to be a summer weight sweater.
Oh yes, I think mine will be a summer weight.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Over dresses and whatnot. Yeah. So I'm getting excited about having it finished now.
So my plan is that I'm going to, once I'm done the fronts, I'm going to assemble the fronts to the back, try it on, hope that it fits. I think it will. And then I'm going to knit down from my provisional cast on to get the ribbing to wherever I want it to be. And I can keep knitting as long as I have yarn to knit with, which I think I'll have plenty. Did you purchase buttons yet?
No, not yet. I've got a heap in my cabin outside that I might have some for, but I'm not sure what colors to get because this has got like an orangey fleck in it. I wondered whether to get orange buttons
or something in between, something peachy. You seem to have very good color sense, so
maybe
you don't need my input.
No, I'll have a good look around and see what I can find.
I bought
Are they your buttons?
It's really hard without being able to see stuff in person anymore. I bought these from a button collector just over the internet, and they're smaller than what I was imagining they would be, but I don't know if you can see. Let me go. I don't know if you can see that they're faceted. They're a hexagon shape.
They are. Yes, I can see. They've got a glitter to them.
And they're black glass. They're a vintage bead. And
they'll be nice on that.
In person, maybe I could have found something that was more in this teal or like a forest green color. But I thought, black is
I think they'll be lovely. Yeah.
And they're small. I have 11 of them. So I'll have a lot of little buttons down the front, which will be very interesting when I have to do all those buttonholes. But
yeah, I've done the buttonholes as
Oh, you did? Are they vertical?
Well, I've got two done. Is it that the one? No, this is it. I've done them as a yarn over knit two together. There, look. And that is plenty big enough.
Yeah, for this little button, it would certainly be plenty big.
Yeah. So they won't stretch, hopefully.
Well, let's see, what else can we talk about? Oh, yeah, Isha and I have talked about this a little behind the scenes. She feels, and I very much agree with her, that being in a knit along like we've been has kind of pushed us forward, keeping us on track. I
Yes.
believe that she is knitting on something else at the same time, which is interesting because I have a feeling that she's probably at the same place that we're at. Um, but the sentiment that she and I seem to share is that probably without this knit along, we might have put this aside. It's
Yeah, I think I might have done after doing the first sleeve, but having done the back, I'm much more confident that it's going to be good.
for
It's
me,
not
it's
a
not
pattern I would have
about
chosen.
for me, it's
Yeah.
not about the confidence. I'm pretty confident that it's going to be good because the promise on the pattern, which you read last time, is that this was designed by an expert knitter. And if you
Yeah.
get engaged, you will have a essentially perfect
I
garment,
know.
they said. So
I
I'm
know.
confident. I'm, believing them at their word. But it's a lot of tedious knitting. It's, row one, row two, and every row is completely different. And you do have to be paying attention. And heaven forbid you make a mistake and you have to think back or pull back.
Yeah.
Recently, I pulled back about 10 rows because yeah, I maybe
Yeah.
lost day there. Because one of the knit two togethers seemed to like slip off, and then I don't know how to repair that after I've gone past it. That would be a great tutorial
Yeah.
for somebody out there to create. I don't know how. Um, so, I'm finding it a little tedious. I can't sit and do this for hours and hours on end. I take a lot of breaks and then I come back to it. But I do feel if I didn't have this commitment to you and the others
Yeah. Yeah.
and to the viewers of this podcast, that I probably would have started to cast on something else, something for the summer, something sleeveless or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. So I'm finding that doing a knit along is probably a good thing. And after I'm done this, I kind of wanted to float the idea. Would people want to do it again? I'd love to
Yeah.
have more people. So if you're watching
Yeah.
this, please comment below and say whether you would like to do this. I want it to be the same sweater that everyone's doing. I don't want just like a general knit along like a lot of other groups do. Because I think it's fun to come together and Zoom. So, if it's going to
Compare
be like
notes.
our small group again, we could agree on what that pattern should be instead of like this time I picked the pattern and everybody else said okay. So that might be something to discuss next time or think about. I have already in mind what I want to knit next, but I have a couple of things in my queue, so it's possible that I would be persuaded to do something else.
Yeah, I like some of the really quirky vintage sweaters. Like I
what?
knitted one, I don't know, I knitted one recently. It was a short sleeved sweater, and you knit it up to just to the beginning of the yoke. And then the yoke, you cast on an amount of stitches that actually turned the corner and went up here. And you decreased in like two raglans. And I did the yoke stripy, so it came down and across and up each time. And then the sleeves just were knitted to there and joined on. Yeah, that was a really interesting knit, because the pattern, although it was lacy up to under the arms, it was quite a dense lace. It was lovely, lovely pattern. That was from a book. That was from a Susan Crawford book, and Stitch in Time.
Mm-hmm.
And the sample that she had got looked very ordinary because she hadn't put the stripes on, and she'd done it in a beige, which, although it's vintage, it's not very exciting. So I did mine in a purple with a yellow stripe, which really made it stand out.
Wow.
That was
Interesting
interesting.
color combo.
Yeah, I should have brought it in with me. I've got it in the bedroom. Next time I'll bring it and show you, because that's a really nice one to do. But then if it's in a book, you have to be careful, don't you?
Everybody would have to have, I know Susan
The book.
Crawford, she doesn't sell her patterns separately.
No.
So everybody would have to have access to the book.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think one of the patterns that I want to do, maybe two patterns that I want to do, are both free on those Australian newspaper things.
Yeah. Australian Women's Weekly.
Or some such publication. Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, when the rest of us are together, I think about if we want to do that. I mean, I don't.
But yeah, if we've got vintage patterns, they should all be out of, I mean, I've got 30s and 40s patterns that should be out of copyright because they're 70 odd years old now. So we should be able to share those. If they're the actual pattern.
I had somebody comment on Instagram about this pattern, and I wasn't so sure about the whole copyright situation. So I did a little bit of homework. The laws in the United States are different from the UK, and the pattern that we're working on now, which I don't feel responsible for whether it is or isn't, because I purchased it from someone in good faith. And I just trust that that person wouldn't do something that was against the law. But it seems like in the UK, the laws are a little different, and I don't have it at the tip of my tongue. But I read through what I thought is current law, and it seemed like this is okay, because it's a certain number of years after the person who wrote it died.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. I
thought it was after the publishing date.
Something like that. And I thought, well, that person, they weren't 2 years old when they wrote it. They already had to be an expert knitter. So they weren't 16 or 17. They were probably a little bit more mature.
30, 40.
And if that was 1949 when they were that age, there's a good chance that they'd be dead by now.
Oh, yeah.
And possibly a long time even. So I think no matter what, with this, we were safe. I don't really want to worry about that because I think we're too small time for anybody to really come after us and care. So yeah, I don't know, if you're a lawyer, comment below, let us know. Well, okay, so I think that's about it. I mean, unless you have something else you want to add in.
No.
So 2 weeks from today, we'll be back here, same time, same bat
same time, same place. Yeah, that's good.
Well, I'm glad that you popped in.
Soldier on, get
I was really worried it was going to be just me, and I thought, I wasn't prepared for that.
I thought there were 2 or 3 people waiting at one point.
Yes, a couple of people had to bow out, but I thought that we would have one more person in addition, and she's probably banging her head against the wall that maybe she doesn't know how to get in, or I don't know. We'll find out.
Because on the first one, there was a lady from Germany, wasn't there?
Yes.
And she's not been back.
Well, she wasn't feeling well the last time, so I knew that, but I did expect her this time. I'm not sure what happened, but hopefully in 2 weeks we'll be back again, and then at that point I think if there are more of us, we should decide if we want to go into another week or another 2 weeks or whatever. I mean, we'll figure that out. But
yeah, I would have thought a little bit longer.
if you're not done and Isha's not done, I'm not done, I think that's, you know, I don't think any of us are going to be done 2 weeks from now is what I was trying to say.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So we will
Nearly
be back.
there, though.
We'll be
Yes.
back.
Okay. Well, nice to talk to you again.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
I will. I'll go out now and out in the sunshine. Okay, then. See you later.
Bye. See you in 2 weeks, everyone. And I'll be back in between with another episode of Show and Tell. All right.
Great.
Ciao.
See ya.